Well, hello, my name is Regina, and in this video, I'm going to talk about three fundamental literary theories, which are structuralism, narratology, and post-colonialism. So, the first theory is structuralism, which is an approach that studies the underlying structures and systems that shape cultural phenomena. It held the belief that things cannot be understood in isolation. They have to be seen in the context of the structures they are part of. It is closely related with semiotics, the study of signs and symbols, and how they function within language and communication, exploring how signs convey meaning and are interpreted in specific contexts. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the representatives. The first that we have is Saussure, which was often recognized as the originator of modern linguistics, and he played a crucial role in shaping structuralism. He introduced the foundational ideas of the signifier, which is the physical part of a sign, like a sound or written word, and the signified, the mental idea or meaning linked to that sign. He also stressed that the meanings we assign to words are purely arbitrary, and these meanings persist only through shared agreement. Then we have Claude Lévi-Strauss, which depicts the idea that human societies are built upon foundational binary oppositions. For example, if we think of nature, culture, or good and evil. He maintained that these contrasting pairs are essential for generating meaning and are evident in everything from ancient myths to daily rituals and other cultural forms. And then the last one is Roland Barthes, that he concentrated on dissecting signs that found within diverse cultural works, including literary pieces. He underscored the critical role of the reader in understanding text, and in his influential essay, The Death of the Author, he questioned conventional ideas about what an author truly intended. In literature, structuralism and semiotics offer analytical tools for understanding the structures, systems, and signs that shape literature and culture. They help uncover hidden meanings, symbolism, and patterns within literary texts. These approaches encourage a deeper exploration of how literature interacts with broader cultural and social contexts. So now I'm going to talk about another theory, which is narratology. It is a study of narrative structures, a branch of structuralism. It studies how narratives make meaning and what the basic mechanisms and procedures are, which are common to all acts of storytelling. It's an attempt to study the nature of story itself as a concept and as a cultural practice. The main representatives in narratology are Aristotle, Propp, and Genet. Aristotle identifies character and action as the essential elements in a story. He identifies three key elements in a plot: hamartia, which is a scene of halt; anagnorisis, which is a recognition or realization in a moment in the narrative; and peripeteia, a turnaround or reversal of fortune. Then we have Vladimir Propp, which was a Russian formalist who analyzed folk tales, identifying recurrent structures and situations in such tales. He concluded that these tales are constructed by selecting items from a basic repertoire of 31 functions, which then he grouped into spheres, which are the roles that characters can have, for example, the villain, the princess, or the hero. And now we're going to talk about Genet. He was a major figure in narratology. He analyzed how stories are told rather than what is told. he broke narrative into six categories: mood, vocalization, voice, time, framework, and speech. In literature, we can apply narratology by providing the elements that make a narrative, such as plot, characters, setting, and narrator, and how these elements interact to create meaning. It helps us understand how stories work, how they influence readers, and how they reflect and shape culture. And last but not least, we're going to talk about post-colonialism. Post-colonial criticism examines literature from formerly colonized regions, interrogating the legacy of colonialism and imperialism. It explores themes of identity, race, and cultural hybridity, as well as the politics of representation and othering. Post-colonial critics analyze how literature reflects the experiences of colonized peoples and engages with questions of power, identity, and resistance in the aftermath of colonialism. The main representatives in post-colonialism theory are Spivak, Seth, and Baba. Spivak is a leading post-colonial critic who introduced the notion of the subaltern, the colonized not elite who, by definition, cannot speak or achieve self-legitimation without ceasing to be that named subject under neocolonialism. Said concept of Orientalism depicts the idea of how the West constructed a stereotypical Orient as its other, demonstrating the complexity of knowledge, power, and domination. Set promotes the de-centered consciousness and for interdisciplinary work committed to the collective libertarian aim of dismantling system of domination. And Baba, he works and explores colonial ambivalence and hybridity. He argues that colonial mimicry, where the colonized are forced to imitate the colonizer, produces subjects who are almost the same but not quite, revealing the inherent flaws and strategic failures of colonial authority and opening possibilities for resistance. Hybridity. We can apply post-colonialism theories in literature by analyzing how literature reflects and challenges colonial power structures, exploring themes of identity, language, hybridity, and resistance. This post-colonial nature often reclaims narratives from a colonized perspective, deconstructing colonial myths and stereotypes.